personally welcome you to the second episode of our podcast named khoneng Ya Puo. Nna ka leina ke mangwata wa go molepo sona setlogolo sa ditlou ka sereto ke tamela and I'm also known as the Black Rose. Now today here with us on a chilled Sunday we have a very special guest known as Noko ka Saraswati. He is that one man o le reng o fetotse maphelo a mantši kudu mo nageng ya ga borena ebile ke leihlo leo le bonang tse le reng ka matlho a senang re ka se di bone ka seesimane ba fela ba re he is also a navigator system which will guide us in this lifetime. Now today I want him to take us through, well, let me say, to tell us more about the keys to mental, physical and also spiritual health.
Awa ke a molegeile setlogolo sa ditou le nna le setlogolo sa ditou ke lefa ka leina ke Noko katlego ka Saraswati ke ramalepe ke phadwa monyemoletši phadwa dumediše moeng o bona phadwa dumela ke mogalaka ke a galaka ke galelaka ke galetšatši lang letšatši ke le leboge for hosting me today ke le leboge for this divine presence. Ashe, Samsha.
Morenaka unjeri ongapili. Jole ka go tseba already you know what you are, who you are, where you are from. Ga botse o thumile neng go bona go lemoga o rona le pitso. I would say it's a calling.
Ashe, you know, o holeng wa ka, I've always been this ngwana o lore o bona dilo ka leitlho le lengwe. And here and there I would hear eavesdrop my elders saying, hey ngwana o na le moya. But I didn't understand or what does that mean, go ba le moya ra gore, you know, I just, okay, it's fine. But I knew within myself that ona le se sengwe ka nna se se different because I didn't relate to my peers. You know, sometimes ka di conversations tseo ke bang le bona ka gare ga tsona a re kgone go shana ka mo gare because it's like I was ahead of my peers, you know. So growing up, different challenges, you know, they will always steer you to the right direction. You know, there will always be a hint to direct you to who you are. You know, but officially, for me to be aware of my spiritual prowess, my spiritual calling, started in the late 2017 when I began to have spiritual episodes. You know, when I began to have you know, dream experiences with my ancestors. You know, assigning me, reminding me of who am I, and that's when this spiritual journey began. And every day became, you know, a learning lesson, a learning curve, bit by bit, until to this present day. But officially, to be quite precise, where I was fully initiated, I started in 2020. Yeah, this is when I began to practice all the oriental orientations of my ancestral lineage, Renarele Bahalaka. You know, being guided by my ancestors, Mangeloi Aga Badimo Baka. Barena, Ka means the spirit, us. Ka is not an individual, it's the spirit which binds us all, which connects us all. The spirit of the creator, of creation itself, matter, energy. Ashe.
Oh wow. That was deep, sir. I have to say it was deep. So, you have already passed the initiation process, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, how was the initiation process like?
To be quite precise also, initiation for us doesn't necessarily stop. You know, just the certain process which you have to go through, and then they get completed, and then you get into another initiations or another processes. So for eternity is a process of acquiring knowledge never stops. So we are every day of ourselves we are going through initiations. Initiation is a ritual of inquiring and acquiring information, applying information. So our ancestors or our guardians, they teach us all this information through various initiation. One completion of initiation, and then you get into another for eternity, because knowledge never stops. So initiations never necessarily stop. Personally speaking, for myself, from where I descend from the lineage of Bakhalaka, Bahuruti, we descend from the royal bloodline, where our initiations never necessarily stop. You may complete a certain ritual, as I said, and then from there you await another initiation forever, because, as I said, knowledge never necessarily stops. So the process which I went through in the beginning, it was very challenging, because the beginning of everything, it's challenging. I cannot say it's hard, but it's challenging. For a seed to be planted in the soil, for it to germinate there, it must push the hard surface of the soil, those rocks, which some are sharp, some are edged, it must push through. So that process of a seed germinate, you see, a seed as it germinates, it's so very sensitive. So when you dive into the spiritual realm, because you tap with your inner younger being or your inner child, he or she's so sensitive, he's so fragile, or she's so fragile, So that process where you're being exposed to hard healing experiences, seeing the sufferings that you've went through, feeling the pains, seeing reality for what it is, energy for what it is, good and bad, and you're still very sensitive. That process can be challenging in the beginning, because you are at the maturity which your ancestral lineage has ordained, and also your energy knows that this is the right time. You are able to pass through. So, you're able to pass through because your energy is ready for that. Your energy is prepared. It knows this is the time where we must do this. So it was very challenging, to answer your question. At the very same time, it was very beautiful. It was very nice to know who I am, where I descend from, to know my ancestral lineage, to know the rituals, the traditions, the processes of healing, the process of acquiring knowledge, the processes of performing certain rituals, understanding our ancestral prowess, where we come from, where we're going, and what we descended here to do. So that process it's challenging, at the very same time it's fulfilling. It's all about balance. You have to find yourself in a balance or stillness, whether through the tough or the rough or the challenges and the good times as well.
Yeah, that's what they say there.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hola, finally, in this generation we are in.
Yeah.
Bahola.
Yes.
Just as you explained. Bahola in a spiritual way. Bahola in that way that is sacred.
Yeah.
You understand? And on their journey, I'm talking about Dingak. Jelurengi twasisha batho ka tsela e seng magete. Una hore e ka ba itlhola ke eng ntho?
Nkhono, you must understand that we are under mibusho ya utopia, retupilwe. We were conquered. We engaged in a warfare with this colonial elite of the Western people, or the Western human beings. And after colonization, they didn't only colonize our economy and our land, they colonized our spirituality, our ways of connecting with the source. They colonized our traditions, our cultural practices, in such a way that they brainwashed our people. Because now we are no longer adhering to the divine principles of Renabatu, Bantu, the Africans, the neuromelanin beings, because now we've been tampered with. They bring their greed, their jealousy, their separation, within us, to disconnect us from our true self, to our divine oneness, to our Ubuntu. So even some of these traditional healers, they were conquered. Some of them, they are not even, supposed to be traditional healers. They bought their practices, So in the name of what? Generating income, because of the greed that we descend into. We've been living in a toxic environment. Our ways of we should connect with one another. Where when I see one of my brothers and my sisters looking for assistance, I see an opportunity for me to exploit and benefit myself. That is not Ubuntu. That is a result of colonial, dominance upon us, relevant to Basu. So some of them is because of their own self not being able to conquer themselves. Some of them is because of indoctrinations of the society which they descended into, being initiated by those who came before them, telling them this is how we should do things, as means of survival or as means of jeopardizing us or the divine ones from fulfilling ourselves. Because they are serving these colonial supremes, these entities which colonized us, the Chitaores and Mamdinta.
Speaking of entities, how can you describe the lower vibrational entities?
In general, to describe the lower vibrational entities, they are parasitic entities. They are parasites which feed off others. These colonial or these Chitaures or these reptilian lizard beings, they are parasites from another solar system or another planet, which they destroyed their own planet because they are parasitic, they are destructive, because of greed and love for lower vibrational frequencies, because they thrive on vibrational frequencies, because they feed off the energy which is produced when the lower vibrational frequencies dominate. So wherever they are, they exploit, they tune the frequency of that particular environment, or a very chilafalo. And these entities, they go in different dimensions because their energy, a low vibrational energy. Energy manifests itself in different vibrations. They are physical entities, which you can see with the physical eyes. And they also have, their energetic self, which you cannot see them physically. You can see them through astral projections or dream experiences. And they also have their form of spells that they use, poisons, through food, where they transport their DNA through food. So that when this food or poisons disguised as food is consumed, that DNA gets transferred into this host, and that parasite begins to manipulate this host. That's why some of us, or that's why the Africans or Bantu were conquered. They were also conquered through this genetically crafted spells of these lizard beings, these entities, because they brought their source of food, which are spells, which is foreign to our DNA. That's why we have diseases. Diseases are not natural. That's why we have disabilities. They are not natural. It's because of this synthetic lizard concoctions or spells of the Lapithians, which goes against our genetical buildup, and it leads into all sorts of disorders. Because these entities, they thrive off disorder. When you're hopeless, when you're helpless, when you're always complaining, why can't I walk upright like others? Your heart is always complaining. And as you're complaining, you are influencing low vibrational frequencies around you in your heart. And these parasites enjoy that low vibrational frequencies that you're influencing by inducing suffering into you. It needs our people to be sick, to be ill, so that they can always, complain to have nothing, to be poor, so that they can always complain, so that these parasite entities can feed off that energy which is being generated when you're always complaining, because you're always influencing lower vibrational frequencies, alpha frequencies, and not omega frequencies. So, to conquer these entities, we need to cleanse ourselves. We need to do away with these colonial sources of energies, or sources of food, sources of medicines, and return back to our traditional African medicines, traditional indigenous food, because they recharge our DNA, they recharge our genetical builder, they tune it, they heal it, and they kill these parasites. And that's when we are going to be able to get out of these entity frequencies of these Lavidians, and we vibrate into omega frequencies of our source. Neteru, Ntu, Ashe.
Now, I want to know, how is science benefiting the generation of today?
Science in a Eurocentric perspective, or science, the natural science in general?
The natural science in general, yes.
Science is an observation of natural energy, and then it's given an umbrella name called science. When you observe energy, when you manipulate energy, or when you convert energy, or when you influence energy, it's science. So we are currently in a great awakening of our subconscious self and our conscious selves, where the frequencies which are being embedded within our solar system by the stars, the mother star, or Saraswati, or Sirius X, which is also followed by other stars like Nibiru, or Mamukhubechwan, Northern Sesotho, the red star, which is beaming hydrogen and iron oxide into our solar system. They are beaming energy which now awaken the divine frequencies, or the divine energy of our solar system, tuning it to its natural state, whereby now it's opening our subconscious self, our ancient science, or the ways of our ancient selves, how we used to absorb energy, how we used to apply energy, how we used to manipulate or condense energy from one source to the other to benefit ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm very thrilled now to see our young ones developing, ways of, manifesting things for themselves, organic products. That's science. Lots of the youth today, since they realizing that this Eurocentric system has failed them, they are returning back to themselves to provide, energy or resources for themselves. Many of them, they're selling organic products, they are processing it for themselves, and then, selling them to heal our people, to heal our community. That is science. We see a lot of the youth now, they're back into farming. Farming is science. To know which soil is fertile. That's energy, that's science.
It is.
To know which seed to plant, how to nurture it, which nutrients does it need. That is science. To know which crop, this certain crop, after harvesting it, gore ke e shumisha jwang. That is science, because crops have energy, and energy is science. So we just have to know how to absorb it, manifest it, and then apply it, so that we can benefit ourselves in a divine way without endangering nature. So this is one of the main concerns that I always want to teach to my people, that even though we are returning back to our roots, we must also adhere to the principles of our natural self, of our creative self, the principles of Ma'at, which teaches us that we must be divine. Even though you're providing for yourself, you are a farmer, you must not use chemicals which are going to endanger certain organisms into the soil. You mustn't use the method of farming which is going to endanger the other people through synthetic fertilizers which contaminate our genetical buildup. So even though we are practicing our science, we must also, adhere to the principles that this science that we're practicing doesn't endanger nature or other living organisms.
Yeah. It's very inspirational and motivational to see ngwana a gola.
Yeah.
And as you are telling us more about the keys to mental, physical, and spiritual health, there's a sister of mine that I met. She wants to know. She kind of like in a way that I didn't realize. Unyaka go tseba ka the Tswana tsatsi, which is also
Botswana
spiritual.
Botswana tšatši,
Botswana
puma
tšatši.
langa,
Oh.
botlhaba tšatši, kwa letšatši le tšwang gona. The first place which the sun rises upon, or which the frequencies of the sun heat as it rises from the eastern latitudinal line of our electromagnetic grid. Sorry I interjected you. I want you to finish the question. I will answer. I was just answering.
Okay. She wants to know. She mentioned it in a Zulu way. I think it's Inzalo
Inzalo
Yelanga.
Yelanga.
Yeah. I know she's gonna be watching this, so I want her to kind of like understand it.
Inzalo Yelanga is a place Mpumalanga, Botlhaba Tšatši. In Northern Sesotho is Tlhaba Tšatši, in Siswati is Mpumalanga, in Singuni or Zulu is Inzalo Yelanga. Is, as I said, is a place where our sun, as it rises from the east, it first heat, because it's the highest and closest to the firmament. So it's the first geographical location which these frequencies of the sun first touch into the soil, which means that's the first place where civilization began, because that's the first place where light shone or connected onto the soil after creating this solar system. Because during the creation of the solar system, we were not in it. We waited for it to be matured before we can descend into it, coming from our mother planet, Saraswati. Cyrus X, the mother planet. We are creators where we create solar systems from one cosmic location to the other. So after creating this Mother Tree, whom they call Mother Earth, we waited for a certain maturity before we can manifest or condense ourselves with it. So Botlhaba Tšatši was the first place which the sun, as it rose from the east, that frequency first heat. And then we knew if we want to connect with the frequencies of the sun, this is the first place where we must, perform our rituals to connect, to honor the sun that we are at Inzalo Yelanga. What they call Adam's calendar now, it has nothing to do there. It's just product of civilization or result of colonial, supremes hijacking everything that is ours and then putting their Eurocentric perspective. But Inzalo Yelanga is a place where we first connect with the frequencies of the sun as it rises. And then the second place which heat or connect with the light of the sun is Maluti Mountains around Lesotho, because it's the highest above sea level. So these are the first land masses because the sun is in the sky. So the frequencies of the light as they go down, the highest point on this flat terraneous or mountainous land, they're the ones which are going to receive what? These frequencies of light first. So because Botlhaba Tšatši is closer to where the sun rises, it receives the sun first. But since Maluti Mountains there in the Drakensberg are far, even though they're the highest land masses in the entire planet, that the highest is the highest place above sea level, but they will tell you it's Mount Everest because they don't want you to know these things. They always want to make it look like they're more superior than us.
They don't want to tell you're starting to understand things at that age.
Yes, because of this Eurocentric societies which they descended into, because they don't understand, or they've forgotten that this young being is the oldest person. He just or she just descended from the ancestral realm, the realm of the elders. Our babies are the youngest. They're the eldest. The youngest person in the family is the eldest, because she or he just descended from the family, from the bloodline or the realm of the ancestors. She or he is a reincarnated ancestor. So, and we descend with this information. And as a young kid, the place, because the physical realm is still new to you, energetically, you spend too much time in the ancestral realm because that's where your energy resonates with the most. You're still adjusting to this physical realm. So that's where you get reminded and be taught of these things. That's why our young ones, especially the current ones, because this is the point or the maturity of the universe where the ancients are reincarnating. They are very smart. They're geniuses. They speak the things that we may question, or hey, this one is losing it, as you were saying. So as I was saying that Maluti Mountains are the highest. They receive this, they're the second to receive these frequencies of the sun as it rises. But the first geographical location to receive this sun is Wotawajaji in Mpumalanga. There is a cosmic calendar, the oldest or one of the first cosmic calendars, which aligns with our cosmic selves, through the stars as they travel within our cosmos, which teaches us the maturity, shows us the maturity of our universe or universes, from one complete cycle of the universe to the other. We must study the sun. We must study the cosmos. Not spend too much time looking into these Eurocentric inventions of calendars. We must return to our Bantu calendar, which aligns with the frequencies of our cosmos, where we follow the moon to determine the days of the month. We observe the sun to determine the maturity of a day, to know when the sun is at a certain position, what is the maturity of that particular day, or what time is it. Time is an illusion. Time doesn't exist. It's just a Eurocentric interpretation of trying to comprehend the maturity of a day or a maturity of our existence. We are eternal beings, so eternal energies, there was never a time where they didn't exist. So we cannot say this is the time where we began, so time is meaningless. If we are eternal, what's the use of time? Because time has a beginning and has an end. Yeah. So we are eternal, so time it's an illusion. It's just, sorry, you were saying? I was just saying it's just an Eurocentric manipulation or invasion of trying to, comprehend a maturity of our solar system, or to divert us from innerstanding and remembering that we are eternal beings by putting us through a spell of time, so that we think, I'm running out of time. You're saying you're old. The more you say you're old, you're actually influencing yourselves to age. Because the more you think you're 30, you're 40, you begin to think you're that person, and then you're influencing yourselves. Your cells are subconscious. They don't care about your emotion. They only care about the frequency that you influence, your thoughts.
The law of attraction.
Yeah. So yeah, it's true.
Speaking of time, sir, I think it's now time we.
Actually, family.
Hello. To my viewers at home, I can feel that you guys are also feeling it. Now, for now, I would like us to go to an ad break. Then, when we come back, we bring a banger in the bag.
Are you a young dreamer, a visionary with untapped potential? Introducing the National Youth Development Agency, NYDA, your gateway to a brighter future. We understand the challenges faced by today's youth. Our mission is to empower you to reach new heights, conquer obstacles, and make your mark in this world.
Good afternoon. My name is Lehlogonolo Paladi. I'm the Center Manager for the NYDA in Polokwane. Our mandate as NYDA is youth development. We look at youth development in a holistical manner. NYDA, we've been tasked to come up with programs that can cater into the specific needs of young people as their needs are different. So our programs have been designed to be tailor-made to look at the specific needs of young people. Are you a young person seeking employment? Are you a young person seeking skills development? Are you a young person looking to start a business? Are you a young person looking to further their studies? Then NYDA is the right place for you to be at.
My name is Noko from Noko Solutions. I'm 24 years old. I'm from a small village called Christina Village. Okay. Makafala is the founder and the director of Nelolo Solution and Nelolo Farming. Nelolo Farming, which focus more on poultry farming and livestock farming. This training is going to help my business to grow even more and be structurally organized and and productive, I can say. All right.
And then you may ask yourself as a young person, how do I access the services? In Limpopo, we have 5 offices, 1 in Capricorn, 2 in Bembe, the other one in Mopani, Waterberg, and Sikukuni. We have a website, it's www.nyda.gov.za, where you can also access our services. You want to apply for a tender, anything that NYDA does, you can access it there. Thank you so much. And we know as young people that you are facing so many challenges, high unemployment rate amongst the young people being the most challenging amongst you. But thankfully, our government has created platforms or agencies such as NYDA for you to make use of the services and be able to access them to ensure that you have a brighter future. Please visit our offices. Please contact us on social media. Please call us. Go to our website to get more information on NYDA. Our youth, our future.
And welcome back from the ad break. You're still with us here on a second episode, Ya podcast Yarina, which is khoneng Ya Puo. And you're still with me, your Black Rose, and obviously our king here. So I want to know about the concept of the Neteru and how are we interconnected with it.
Ashim, Neteru.
Oh.
Neteru, nature. The word nature comes from Neteru. Our natural selves as Bantu, our creative gene, that's Neteru. What connects us to our natural self, to our Ankh selves, our energetic selves, the source, that's Neteru. The creator is the primordial waters, the mother creator, the mother. We descend through the mother cosmos, which is feminine. That's why we say, as Africans, our women, Kibona, Mutlodi, because Mutlodi, creation descends through our womb man. That's why we call them womb man, women. A womb is a realm of creation, and those who embody the womb, they are the sources of creation. In order for this energy that a man is to condense physically or to expand itself, it first must plant itself within a womb of creation. In order for the spermatozoa of a man to condense, to become physical, to experience itself, it must plant that seed into a body of an ancestor which is carried by the woman in the womb of creation. So Neteru is us honoring the principle of our creative mother source, Tao, nature, everything that is organic, which is natural. So we embracing our natural self through the principles of Neteru.
Yeah, hey, that's true. And I would like you to explain in a simple way what are the chakras, and did our ancestors know about them?
Chakras.
Oh, chakras.
Chakras is a Sanskrit concept of nerve centers. Sanskrit concept, the Hindu is a product of Sanskrit. Sanskrit were Bantu people who went into modern day Asia, the ancestors of modern day Asians, they were covered, they looked like us, they are Bantu people. Bantu means 9 ether beings. Bantu is not only limited to Southern or Sub-Saharan natives. It just means a neuromelanin beings. So as chakra, it means an energy cycle, which is a nerve center. Our ancestors knew about these nerves, but they didn't call them chakras. I descend from the ancestral lineage of Basotho or Bakhalaga. We called chakras Noko, kopano ya di chika, mo di chika jarna di kopano, a center where our central nervous system meet. This energy pools as what we call chakras. Your stomach it contains nerves where it's a nerve center where your abdomen nerves meet, and this stomach is where energy is generated. It circulates and then it rises up. Your heart chakra consists of your heart, which is a valve, and your lungs. A valve it absorbs, this heart or the valve absorbs the air that you breathe in, which is Neteru, which is the moisture, which is the breath, which is life, which is energy. And then it uses this breath, because our heart is a nerve, and this nerve center called the heart distributes blood so that it can circulate. It pushes it in a certain frequency when it's needed in the head at a certain amount. It pushes them to a certain velocity so that it reaches the head. If more blood is needed in the sacral chakra during a sacred energy exchange or sex, and then this heart pumps more blood towards the sacral chakra or manuko agago abonna or abosadi during a thobalano, where we are aligning our nerve centers, the chika tja rena tja bonna le tja bosadi, to download the cosmic energy ya rena ya Neteru through a sacred energy exchange. Because sex means sacred energy exchange, where we are interjoining our sacral chakras to manifest the cosmic energy that we are from your ancestral lineage and from my ancestral lineage, to build a ball of energy so that we can manifest with it. Either we are manifesting life or we are manifesting energy which is going to assist myself and my partner to manifest something that we want to manifest. So sex or energy, sacred energy exchange, it shouldn't be used for pleasure or for orgasm. It should be used for a divine purpose of manifestation, either for procreating life or manifesting sacred setting of some sort. If you want to manifest harvest, a great harvest, you can use sacred energy exchange. There are rituals which you can engage upon. I have meditation teachings and sacred teachings which I teach my students on how they can also use sacred energy exchange for their benefits. There are principles that must be adhered, and one of them is not always wanting to have sex, because you're wasting that energy that you should be building up. You're mercilessly, ejaculating it, excreting it.
Yeah.
We also have nerves under our feet, the chika, manuku, and these nerves, they absorb the electromagnetic energy of the soil, that comes from the ground, energy that comes from the ground, the soil, because we are the soil. Yes, that comes from the soil, from the ground. And these nerves absorb this electromagnetic energy, and they rise it through the nerve centers. Through the nerves, and then it gets into the first nerve center, which is the sacral chakra, from your underfeet, and then your sacral chakra. From the sacral chakra, your solar plexus, and then pilu, matwafu, and then from pilu, within your larynx, through your thyroid gland, and then from there it goes into what your hypothalamus. That's where it enters through your pineal gland, which is the mind of the creator, the mind of Ndu, the mind of the Ankh. And then from there, it connects with your hair, which are also nerves. Your hair is an extension of your central nervous system. They are coils which absorb etheric electricity. They are not here for decorations. So to answer your question, our ancestors, they knew. That's why they practiced an art of, coiling their hair like this. These are locks. Cosmic locks. They are not dreads. Dread is a low vibrational name, phrase. Dread means dull, it means lifeless. So it's the colonial trying to demonize us from having this, to associate this kind of hairstyle as primitive, as dirtiness, because they understood the more you have this is the more you absorb this etheric energy. So our ancestors, they knew about chakras. They just didn't know them as chakras. They just didn't refer them as chakras. They referred them as Manoko, Tichika, and then other dialects also, they had their own definition of these nerve centers, where our central nervous system meet. And these energy pools, when they are balanced, they are able to rise this oil, makura, amoya, this urais or kurist, or the kundalini that the Sanskrit they refer as. This oil in your spinal or the spinal fluid, it needs to rise so that it can activate this pineal gland, this nerve center here in the middle of your brain. This forbidden tree in the middle of the garden. The garden is your head, and then Eve is your feminine side of your brain, and then Adam is your masculine side of your brain. So they manipulated these teachings, and then they plagiarized them or personified them into a Bible as if it's a physical human being, so that they can isolate us from within ourselves. Because in order for us to connect with the God that we are, with the Ankh that we are, we shouldn't connect externally. We connect internally. So they made us, through religions, to believe that in order for us to connect with our creative gene or the creator, we must worship these idols that they refer as Jesus, some is Muhammad, from one, religion to other. Some they call them Allah. But the creator is within you, yourself. So when you must connect with that mudimu that you are, you shouldn't look outside. Look within yourself.
You should find everything within yourself.
Everything is embedded within us. Don't spend in order for you to understand what is out there, first understand what is within. Thus, as within, so without. You cannot. It may not be easier for you to learn something which is out there, but it's easier for you to learn something which is within here. And then when you know something which is within here, you ultimately know something which is out there. Because this energy that is within you, it will attract that energy that is out there to come to you. I know what is happening in China without me going to China, because I'm connected to my environment here. I know what is happening in America without going to America, without being there physically, because I'm connected to the environment here. The nature that is here can connect with channels which can lead me to America, and that frequency travel through those channels until it reaches me. For example, a mountain, each and every mountain has streams underneath. These underground streams, they are interconnected, and it leads to the ocean. Water it transports energy. the current that we are. So frequencies from America can reach us through the ocean until it goes through these river channels which are in the land here in Africa, until they connect to a certain mountain here in Africa, which I can go there and meditate there and absorb those frequencies of that mountain, and then I learn about what is happening in America without me being there. Because we are all interconnected. I can also get this information from a bird which can travel from Africa and migrate into the Western Hemisphere or to the Northern Hemisphere. And then when it comes back with those frequencies. And when I'm out there in the wilderness, I can connect with this because we are connected to our totems as Bantu. When the more you connect with nature, you connect with everything that is organic, is natural. Where you're just chilling in the wilderness, listening to yourself, meditating. And those frequencies, they come to you.
Yeah, this is deep.
Actually.
No, you know that you planted medicine.
Yeah.
And Rena is Baswa generation
Yeah. Yes. Yo.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we can't indicate what this is or but the only people that can do the thing so to that part they already twice. Indicate
first of all, for traditional healers or Dingaka, Sangoma, Sanusis, for them to know that information is because they are the ambassadors of their ancestors. We are being guided by our ancestors. Some of these herbs we are taught by our ancestors because they're the ones that they used to use these herbs, because now we descended in colonial systems where we are isolated from those kind of knowledge. We don't even remember, that's why you say we don't know. But you can also know these herbs through your ancestors. When you have an active relationship with your ancestors, they can teach you which plants that you need to use for certain whatever that you want to use them for. If you want to polish out the fola, yourself. And if they don't have that knowledge, your ancestors, they will also direct you to Noko. And then because of my ancestors, they have that knowledge that okay, and then so it doesn't necessarily mean that only traditional healers or spiritual healers or sanusis are the ones who know this knowledge. No, it's just that they may know more than just as compared to somebody who's not initiated into this cultural or spiritual practices, because it's our profession, An engineer knows more about engineering than a teacher knows about engineering. So even myself as a traditional healer, I may know more about herbs as compared to you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot know them in general. It's just all about knowledge, and knowledge is not limited to anybody. Anyone can activate it. It's just that you must also be aware that you cannot know everything. Even myself, I don't know all the herbs. I know to a certain level, and then the more I dig deeper and the more I learn and get taught by my ancestors, and also through my observation or learning from others, is the more I recharge that knowledge that I know. So it doesn't necessarily mean when you are not a traditional healer, you're not supposed to learn about this, herbs. It's just that you must also understand there are certain herbs which have principles, that you must, before you go to this herb and you take it, there are certain rituals that you must do first before taking that herb, So that's why our culture, they only allow traditional healers to be the ones who do those things, because they're the ones who have been taught about those rituals, so that you don't end up getting the herbs that you're not supposed to get them, or you didn't do certain things, and then next thing when you bring them to your household, you end up putting yourself in danger because you didn't follow proper procedures of uprooting it and also doing certain things or processing it, because it's chemistry, it's science. The process of having to uproot a herb, it's science. Some herbs I must talk to them and ask them and tell them what am I going to use them before I uproot it from the soil. I must ask for its permission to allow me to take it. I can't just say, there is this, and then I dig and I take. They say it helps, but cleaning the blood. The next thing, you just uproot it, you take it, and then you use it, and then it ends up, affecting you, or not even working, or making matters worse. So, but in general, doesn't necessarily mean that only traditional healers should be the ones, or spiritual healers should be the ones who knows about this herbs, because even some of us, we don't know all the herbs, So we mustn't have a stereotype mentality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we must be open-minded to learn about things. Even if you may not know all the herbs, but know certain herbs. Some don't even need you to be a traditional healer to know about them. Moringa is very powerful. Anyone can use them. It's a tree that anyone can plant and use. As long as you take care of it properly, and then it will give you so much. It's a superfood which is good. That I think I always advise my people that we need to have moringa. It's one of the most powerful herbs that you can have, because it contains a lot of minerals in there and vitamins, as well as sea moss. And also be careful, some of this sea moss is being grown into pools by this commercial, sellers who just want to make quick money, that they grow using, their pools. Organic sea moss must come from the sea, henceforth sea moss, not a pool moss.
Okay, I get it.
So yeah.
So, as I said before, we live in a different generation. Generation that's full of jealousy, that's full of negativity. Okay. I want to know that how can one best protect themselves against witchcraft?
May I ask you, what is witchcraft? True. Buloi, it does not mean what it means to a lot of people now currently.
Alright.
Buloi means knowledge.
I'm all ears.
Yeah, that's why we have the surnames of Baloi. It does not mean Bayatagat. There's a difference between Butagati and Buloi. Buloi means knowledge. Witchery means knowledge, ne? And then craft means art. So witchcraft is the art of knowledge. The difference is, what are you using that knowledge for? Is it good or bad?
Oh yeah.
When you use it good, and then it's divine witchcraft. When you use it bad, it's bad witchcraft. That's when we're going to talk about Utagata, but with lower vibrational spells for wrong reasons. So when you understand the good and the bad of energy, that's when you are able to protect yourself. You know that we have certain divine herbs which are able to shield and yield you from absorbing low vibrational frequencies. Bad chemicals or spells or tabutagati, they are low vibrational. They're toxic. They're poisonous. So, and then we also have divine herbs which are organic and natural, which have protection within themselves. So when you consume those herbs, when you live in those environments, there's a certain tree, when you plant it in your yard, it protects you because it's divine. It absorbs divine frequencies of our universe. It doesn't attract bad frequencies, because energy, we have the good and the bad. We have the high and the low. We have the alpha and the omega. Within each and every, it's just the balance of energy. The good cannot survive without the bad. The bad cannot survive without the good. The high cannot survive without the low. The low cannot survive without the bad. It just needs to balance. So you must balance yourself.
Yeah.
There are certain herbs that you must use, certain food that you must use to as source of protection, to repel low vibrational frequencies. Healthy lifestyle, alkaline diet, knowing the organic food that you must eat, which contains nutrients which will protect you, chemistry which will protect you, to repel Uktagat or the frequencies of Uktagat. Although it's not something huge, it's just that it fits off people not having the knowledge of knowing how to protect themselves against the lower vibrational frequencies. So the word Ulo is also demonized, Baloi doesn't mean Bayatagata. It just means knowledgeable people. Baloi means knowledgeable people. Are you knowledgeable with good intention or bad intention? That's all what it means. That's where the difference comes from.
Yeah, I guess we have had. Witchcraft is just not bully.
No, it's
I think
below.
bully, but assembly
It-
would not have
Yes,
what we
exactly.
think and what we say. With
What
our
we've been
powerful
taught
tongue.
because of the
Yes.
society which we come from, you know.
Now, the origins of the Bible, sir.
Yeah.
What do you know about them?
Before we can dwell much on the Bible, let's first understand what is the Bible. You know, the Holy Bible, which currently Christian religion uses, it came from Helios Biblos, Holy Bible, Helios Holy, Biblos Bible, Holy Bible. The Helios Bible, Biblos is a Greek way to say Holy Bible, and the Helios Biblos was plagiarized from Bukara, the book of the Spirit of the Sun. Helios means the sun, Holy means the sun. So Holy Bible means the book of the sun. So everything that is written in the Bible, originally from the Bukara, it was talking about the knowledge of the people of the sun, or the spirit of the people of the sun. Our ancient selves, we wrote those scrolls, writing for the light races to know about us, their creators, teaching them about divinity, teaching them about us, what they should eat, what they shouldn't eat, because they are recessive light beings which were created in the Pygmy Islands, in the Caucasus Mountains, far away from us, by their creator, Yahweh or Yahweh, the king of the light races, or the creator of the light races, which modern day they call him Yakub. You know, so that the book of the Bukara, or the Bukara, the book, Ka the spirit, Ra the sun. So Bukara means the book of the spirit of the sun. So we're teaching the light races about us, their creators, so that when the time for these light races they meet us, they know how to conduct themselves. They know about us. There's this scripture even in the Bible that it was describing us, that his skin is like the bronze of whatnot, with woolly hair, because it was describing us, telling the light races, so that when they meet us, they know who their creators are. So the Holy Bible is not meant for us, it's meant for the light races. Just that during the invention of these light races, the Greeks, they went to Kemet, to learn about us, to learn about all this. They're the ones who even took these scrolls of the Bukara, and then because they were colonized and controlled by this these recessive lizard beings, they were brainwashed and tampered with, and messed with this law of vibrational frequencies. They plagiarized that scrolls of Bukara and then converted into Helios Biblos, trying to manifest themselves as us. That's why they changed and personified those characters in the Bible and turned them into human beings. Christ, or Jesus, is the Son, the literal Son, S-U-N. So modern day Holy Bible was created by the Council of Nicaea in the year 330 AD, using the Gregorian calendar. Using the Gregorian calendar, trying to personify those characters to make it about them, because they wanted to imprint superiority upon us, taking the fact that we're in the temporary sleep of this, where we forgot that we are the ones who wrote those ancient scrolls of Book or Ra, because we're fulfilling the cycle of self-forgetfulness in the cycle of the universe, where we temporarily slept this pineal gland, this mind of the creator within us. So that's why during colonization, they imposed this new Holy Bible upon us. They forced it upon us. But we already knew about those things. That's why it was easy for us to accept it, But it was whitewashed. Instead of us honoring the sun S-U-N, we are now honoring the sun S-O-N, which is Jesus, which is a light rays. You know, even in the book of Psalm, is it Psalm 24? Yes, I think it's Psalm 24, verse 16. It says, the Lord is the sun, S-U-N. S-U-N, isn't there? Just that these are some of the verses which modern day Christians, they do not, tap into them, because they choose the verses which suit their narratives. Because modern day, religions are just sources of, money. It's just business. It has nothing to do with the source, So they're using these religions to disconnect us from connecting with our inner self, using this Bible. So as I wrap up, the Bible, the Holy Bible was formalized or Eurocentralized in Rome by the Council of Nicaea in a quest to conquer us, Bantu, Africans, because they came with it and they forced it upon us. We are victims of warfare. We didn't just accept it. It was not part of us. It was forced upon us through colonization, using missionaries to conquer us, to isolate us from our ancestral way of connecting with the creator of our creative gene, and then now we're converted into connecting with the biblical creator that is in the sky somewhere. We don't know, we never seen, we can't prove, but you must believe. If you don't believe, it means you're a pagan, you're an atheist, which is not true. As Africans, we knew the creator before the Bibles were brought to us. It's just that we didn't know that biblical one. That's why they forced us to believe that one and live our own through colonial missionaries, where they were killing our ancestors, forcing us that if you don't accept this, we kill your children. They kill them in front of you. So it's a painful experience. Some of these things, when you hear our loved ones currently, when they defend these religions, it touches me, because when I see the experiences what my ancestors went through, it's painful, and it can get into your nerves. But I just wish my people can reconnect with their ancestors so that they know who we are, and do away with all these pagan religions which are not ours, and return back to our roots. Actually.
And we live in a plant, right? And they say our planet is round.
Okay.
Right? I want to know from when, what do you think is the true shape of this planet?
According to the teachings of my ancestry, the shape of our planet is a domed shape. We can look at Nut. Nut, she's standing like this, she's bending like this, and then Gap is laying down like this. The sky is domed like this. It's a dome, half of a circle which is domed like this, and it is also a circle, but like a bowl facing down.
Yes.
And then at the bottom, we have a plain terrain, henceforth planet. Plain means flat, T stands for terrain, plain terrain, a plain mountainous terrain. Ka Sepedi re re, o ba ka Sesotho re re, lefase ka bophara. Bophara means flat. A re re lefase ka nkgokolo.
Oh yeah.
You see?
Oh yeah.
So we understand that even other civilizations across, before modern Eurocentric form of civilization, we knew the shape of our plain terrain to be a dome and a flat mountainous terrain. Just that people, when they say flat earth, they think everything's just flat in a bowl and then there is nothing elsewhere. No, we are in a glass dome contained. There is no such thing as outer space, because above these cosmic waters, to travel into other planets, you must go through the ocean. And it's impossible to go there because we are not supposed to leave. They've been trying to dive into those oceans, looking for these portals so that they can exist into other planets. But we are not supposed to engage in physically, so we can only engage telepathically, spiritually, with other beings from another planet without us tampering with one another's, ecosystems. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. We all thought Lefasiki.
Yeah, those are teaching the Eurocentric indoctrination of colonization. All these teachings that they've been teaching us, it was meant to separate from all of us that we must believe we're in a spinning ball that is spinning 3 times faster than the speed of light, but we can't feel it. Into nothingness. They say it's being held by a force of gravity. What is that force of gravity? What is the source of force of gravity? They say we're spinning around the sun at a super speed, 3 times faster than the speed of light. We are rotating like this, spinning, but we cannot feel ourselves spinning because our planet is constant, it's stationary. What is moving is the primordial waters above us, which are rotating with the sun and the moon and the stars. That's what is rotating. But this plane terrain, this dome, is stationary. It's not moving, and it's not a ball. It's not a marble spinning into nothingness. Yeah, and then we are talking about the terrain, in fact. And then this terrain has a dome, a glass filament.
I get it.
Actually.
Now, what does the future hold for our youth?
In terms of?
Okay, from your knowledge.
Yeah.
Youth here today. What does the future have for it, according to your knowledge?
Actually, so the future is determined in the present. What the current youth is doing currently is what determines the future. So you and I, what are we doing now? We are sharing the knowledge of our ancestry, divine information. We are shaping the future. Others, they are out there partying, doing drugs. They are shaping their future. So the future is not an one-size-fits-all. For someone else, it's toxic. For some of us, it's divine because of what we are doing currently. So let's avoid this overgeneralization of people saying, the youth has no future, because they are looking at the perspective of those who are doing toxic things in the current, neglecting those who are doing divine things in the current. So I cannot give a one-size answer for the entire youth. But what I know, those who are intoxicating themselves, those who are living the YOLO, live very young, you only live once, live fast, die young, they are already manifesting their future, that their future leads into death because they are self-destructing in the current. And there are those who are preparing for their future by planting food, investing in their ancestral knowledge. They are already preparing for what is to come. Because there is no such thing as the past, the present, and the future. It's all about energy. And this energy is interconnected. All you have to do is, are you going back into energy, or are you in the present, or are you going into the future of this energy? But we must focus now in the present. What are we doing now in the present? So we must prepare now for tomorrow. So I encourage our youth to be mindful of the things that they are doing currently, if it's going to benefit them tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying the future of our youth is determined to what they are doing currently. There are some of us who are preparing to be the givers of wealth, those who protect our people, those who equip our people, those who heal our people. And it starts now because we're doing it now. It just gets more and more as energy matures, each sunrise, each sunset, for eternity. Ashi.
There's a church song that says "Modimo file sebakanyana se le motsotso." Now I want to know, what do you understand like space and time?
Space and time. Space is environment. It's an environment which you find yourself in. I'm in this space right now. And within this space, which energies are found within this space? You know? That's why I said there's no such thing as time. It's all about energy. So, time is just illusion of trying to measure the maturity of energy in the present. So when you speak of space and time is the energy which one finds him or herself within his ecosystem. That's when we're talking about space and time. And to the song, how I understand it, the Creator has given us space and time. I think it's just trying to make us to be aware that we must use our energy balanced wise. You know, don't just waste it doing unnecessary things, toxic stuff. You must use your energy wisely, divinely, in the current. You know, because we descended to experience that. We didn't descend to experience all these law of vibrational things. So we must remember that our Creator, or the creative gene, gave us this moment in the cycle of the universe to fulfill certain assignment which we descended to fulfill. So my understanding, that song, as I interpreted it, means that, but it may be different for somebody who's religiously indoctrinated, that they think they must please that biblical concept of God. You know, it's like people who are living to please that biblical God, neglecting that God that they are within themselves, the energy, the spirit that they are. That's why even in the book it's written that the spirit of God was transferred into the body. Our creative gene transferred this breath of life within us. So it means this spirit of the Creator is within us, not somewhere there.
It's just within
it's us. So all I have to do is use it to manifest things for myself instead of begging, oh, I need the work, I need money. Think on how to
make
manifest resources for yourself. Because you have all that ability. But religions indoctrinate us that we must beg this skinny white boy called Jesus for salvation for things. Where the pastor tells you that if you need a job, you must pray. But when he wants money, he tells the congregation to give money, to give tithe, to pay money. Why can't he pray himself and manifest money without the congregations coughing out the money? But when the congregants, they need the money, he tells them to pray. Why can't he pray? They say church needs the money. Why can't the church, we fast as a whole church, and then we fast for money to come into the church? Why do we have to cough from our coffers to give to the church? But when it's time to manifest money for ourselves, we must pray. You see, these are the religions which indoctrinate our people.
That's true.
To benefit out of them.
Now, how can we access our ancient technologies?
That's a very profound question. I love it. Our ancient self is embedded within us. So we need to tap within our ancestries, our traditions, our customs before these colonial contaminations. To know our roots. Knowing those things, you're tapping into the crafts and the witchery or the witchcraft that they were practicing. The knowledge which they were practicing to manifest energy. Which herbs were they using? Which stones were they using? I know that Bakhalaka, for them to put the stones, those Mapungube, some of the stones in Mapungube there, which are not found there, they are geographically found elsewhere. They used sound to levitate those huge rocks to bring them atop of that mountain, using sound, frequency, because sound frequency is energy, using vibration. Everything has vibration. You just have to tap into its resonance. Just like our spinal bones or the vertebrates, that's a mode of resonance. You know, when you do certain sound, you're tapping into the resonance of your vertebrates, which invoke this oil in your spine to rise. It's all about knowing those sounds of the universe, on how to influence this energy to tap into those, you know, resonances to influence certain vibrations. You know, so we all have to dive into that knowledge, knowing our roots, where we come from.
Now, since the Queen of England passed away last year,
Okay.
which impact do you think it does on the rest of the world? It does have on the rest of the world?
You must understand that the Queen of England was like the god of colonials, or a goddess of colonials. You know, she had all the ancestors' artifacts. Even now, they're in the Vatican, stored in those museums, hidden, taken from us. When we are victims of spiritual warfare ourselves, we are not slaves or primitive. We are just victims of captives of spiritual warfare. You know, so they took our possessions and they took to Queen Elizabeth our diamonds. She has the biggest rock, which comes from Botswana. Lots of diamonds which come from South Africa. Gold, which comes from Azar, Southern Africa, which is packed there. So her dying, you know, it shows that the spell which they were using for her power has run out of. You know, because our ancient self has awakened. It's a sign that they are panicking now, because they can no longer do as they please, because they know their time is up. So we should celebrate that. You know, this one is one of the topics that if we dive into, we can make an own episode on its own. So, but it's fine. We'll tap into that some other time.
Now, what do you think of our government system?
Our government systems. As we have been colonized, we are under the governments which are brought within colonial systems, first and foremost. Govern, control, mind. Governments are entities which control the minds of our societies. So they use the colonial systems, strategies, to control how we think. We're in a spiritual warfare, and the spirit is in the mind, because this is the mind where the God within us dwells. So in order for them to manipulate this God within us, they must manipulate our mind, control how we think, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive nature, how we connect with our environment. The more we think our communicating with our ancestry is idolatry, is pagan, you know, that's what they want. They isolate us from our true self, because they know the more you connect with your lineage, you will awaken your ancient self and you will awaken this part of you. So they need to isolate you through many systems. Religions are systematic programs. Economical system of being employment. Employment is an easier way of saying slavery. You know, we are willing slaves who gave themselves to the system through employment, where you're draining your energy, waking hours even when you're sick, in the name of exchanging that paper, monopoly paper, which is just paper which gets printed, because they use it as a form of trade, which we never used money, that paper money before. We used organic resources. We exchanged through bartering. You bring me your seed, I bring you my crops. You give me your copper, I give you my silver. We exchange with tangible materials. I can use this silver to create instruments which I can use to create my technological devices. I can use this silver to create ornaments and crafts which can I use to benefit myself. Now if I give you paper money, what else can you do with it besides buying with it? Nothing. You can burn it. It's just paper. And tomorrow another one is printed. Money is illusion. Money is just illusion which is used to bait us into the system of these colonials.
Oh, yeah.
We never used that money, Even when we were exchanging with gold and silver, we knew that this gold can be used for not only as a form of trading, you can also use it to create this, for example, these bangles that I use to absorb energy with. Copper, when I use it, I can use it, for help to assist me to tap into certain frequencies of our dimension, to access certain information from the solar system, which can assist me with information that I need to design technological devices, to know which plants I can use to heal my people. See, that copper can be used for many things. I use it to cook with it because it releases minerals, which when I intake, it tunes my frequencies into the frequencies of the Omega self, the creator, higher vibrations, So in general, that's what I would say.
The BRICS alliance.
Yes.
It seems to be heating up
Yeah.
day in and day out. What's your explanation for that?
I always say everything was coined through colonial. Everything was, even the systems is all about colonial manipulations. So even the system of BRICS is just another side of the coin, of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. They know that their reign is over on the other side, and now they're coming up with, they know people now, they're awakening to the truth, so now they're coming with the messiahs. That's why how they also conquered us with religions. After the missionaries which were shooting guns, slaughtering us, afterwards they brought the Christian missionaries, which they brought sweets, they brought love to say, no, in order for you to get out of this colonial missionary, you must accept this God because you're being punished. So our people, through those suffering, they had to adhere. That's how they managed to win us to accept those religions. Because they came as messiahs, bringing toxins, food, cakes, which indoctrinate us. But because it's sweet, they are nice, we thought, hey, these people, they love us. But they're the one same thing. They come from the same Vatican missionary. Yeah. So it's just two sides of the same coin. It's just that we are going to benefit from it as well, because somewhere, somehow, they're desperate as well. They're desperate. And they know that the frequencies are vibrating now. We're tuning into divine frequencies, meaning that if you're not doing everything, or some of your frequencies are not divine, you're self-destructing. So they're coming up with, easier things also to make us to be content, to think they got our best interest so that we can relax.
And feel free.
Feel free that everything's going to be fine. While they are strategizing, it's just propaganda, smoke screens. They talk about the things that they know is going to, spark our interest, and then we want to pay attention. While we are paying attention there, they are busy there. It's just division of attention. So, in general, I don't entertain politics, because I understand it's just one side of the system. But at the very same time, you must be aware of politics. You mustn't be ignorant. You must know what the enemy is planning. I'm not saying you should just be, I don't follow politics, but no. You must know because these people are the ones who are influencing the policies in your environment. So if you're not part of that, influencing those policies, you may find out tomorrow, they say, they signed a policy that you must leave your home now and go elsewhere. The same way as how the apartheid regime did, where they moved us from our ancestral lands into other places.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that let's just be aware. Let's just not look everything from the media perspective, but we must look at all sides. Is it war happening in Russia? Is there war actually? Or is the war is only happening in the mainstream media? Is what they want us to believe. Is there war really going on in Russia and between Ukraine and Russia? Is there war? I'm asking this question. This is a question that I'm also saying to you. Dive deeper into that so that we know if there is war really going on there or it's just something else.
Destruction.
It's just the distraction.
Oh yeah.
You know, dive deep into that. Let's just not just take everything as. Let me not say anything about it. But it's your assignment that I'm giving to you now as well.
I will
as
dig
well
more
as
into it.
the listeners there.
I will.
Ashe.
Please let us dig more into this because it's more deeper than we thought.
Yeah.
It is. Now, KZN.
Mm.
It's the only area that is experiencing a lot of floods.
Floods, yes.
Why is that?
As now we are in the age of awakening where the mother star or star Cyrus is returning, coming closer and closer to our solar system. And it means it's recharging more energy into our stars and our sun and the moon. And the sun and the moon are getting closer and closer, which means it's intensifying what? The heat, the warmth in our ecosystem, because the warmth assists us to vibrate with omega frequency, higher frequencies, and coldness is hell. So we are removing hell out of our planet by inducing warmth. That's why they're talking about climate change, demonizing it, spraying chemical trails so that they can block what? The heat waves, because they know the heat waves are a threat to their parasitic self. It's a threat to their synthetic genetical buildup, because now we are in the age of the source returning to its true nature, our planet returning to its default setting, the divine vibration of higher frequencies, because we have fulfilled that cycle of self-forgetfulness. So KZN is closer to the ocean, and it means there is more moisture being released as heat wave penetrates into that ocean, you know. And that land, it was not all part of it was supposed to be inhabited. There are secret places there. The pyramids there is one of the places where the ancient civilization started, because there are certain sacred places which were used for specific purposes, because there are certain spiritual totems which were staying there. And then most of them, they've been tampered with by these colonials, even some of our people who are trying to enrich themselves. They've been fiddling with these energy sources. But now that we are awakening and restoring, all those frequencies are going back to them. But another reason is because that most of our people in KZN, they are living in low-lying area which they are not supposed to live. But the system just put them there because they want them closer to the city so that they can be used. Some of them, they just push them there looking for opportunities where they are living in low-lying area where water is to flow. But because we're in the temporary fall where we are not receiving enough rain, so they thought it can just live there. But now that the rains have returned because of this warmth, they are the first people to suffer, because most of them, they are living in area where they're not supposed to live. They're in the ways of the waters, you know. So that's why they're experiencing more floods.
I'm good. So do you have any conclusions for the show?
As I conclude, there are a few things that I want to tap into that I need my people to be aware of. Henceforth, we're in the Great Awakening. Our ancestors now, they want us to reconnect with our ancestry. They want us to know our lineage, where we come from. By us doing so, we are reviving the mind of the creative gene that we are through our ancestral lineage. They want us to know ourselves. A tree that doesn't know its roots bears no fruit, you know, because it doesn't know where it comes from. It doesn't know which food it must eat through the roots. It doesn't know how it must produce food for itself, because it lacks that source of network which absorb energy from the soil through the roots. So we must know our roots so that we can be able to know ourselves, so that we can be able to manifest the things that we need to manifest for ourselves. That's one thing. Another thing that our ancestors, they want us to be aware of is that we need to do away with the synthetic colonial food sources, which are just poison disguised as food. We need to go back into our indigenous food, into our organic alkaline diet, so that we can recharge ourselves and remove these toxicities out of our bodies. Because if we do not do that, the more intense these coronal mass injections or the heat waves intensify or rises, those toxins which are intoxicating our bodies are going to overwhelm us. We are not going to be able to stand the divine frequencies, because divine frequencies don't align in a toxic environment. They are here to remove toxicity. So if you have toxicity within yourself, it means you shall also be what? Succumbed or removed. So you need to remove all these toxins as much as possible, so that this heat waves, this coronal mass injection doesn't leach you. Another thing that we must also do is give back to nature, love nature. Stop throwing trash into the wilderness, throwing trash in the water bodies. Our water bodies are alive. Our trees are alive. Our mountains are alive. We find our people using them as dump sites. The waters have returned. And all those trashes that you're throwing there, which are toxicity, which is a breeding ground for lower vibrational frequencies. Those lower vibrational frequencies, when they leave, when they're going to come to who? To whoever threw those trash in there. So you're going to pay for the karmatic frequencies of your own actions. So we need to do away with all this toxicity. We need to clean our environment. Kolomakang or tlhwekishang meago ya lena, tloshang ditšhila dipampiri ka jarateng tša bolena, le ko nageng le sa latlha ditšhila ko jarateng, di fisheng ka mo gae. Clean your environment. Let's clean our nature. Let's clean our water bodies, because we're in the age of reviving ourselves, cleaning ourselves, knowing ourselves, and invoking our energetic self. Because failure to do so is the self-destruction. And we are in the age of awakening, where natural selection means that you choose to ascend or to descend with the dying system, because these lower vibrational entities or frequencies of the Leviathians or Chitawaras, it has reached its end. So whoever is still attached into those frequencies shall do what? Shall go down with it. So we need to do away from everything that is egocentric and return back to our roots. So far, this is how I want to conclude this setting that we had today, with this divine message for our loved ones, that we need to know ourselves and know who we are, know our cultural prowess, and know that we are energetic beings. So we must use our energy in a divine way. We mustn't use our energy to exploit our natural self, because when we do that, we are self-destructing, because I am a tree, I am a mountain, I am a river source. When you're contaminating those environments, when you're contaminating our totems, where you're throwing plastic in the wilderness, where our cattle graze, now they eat those plastics, they die, we are affecting the economy of the community. We are affecting ourselves, because someone is benefiting from that livestock. Now when it's your time to need that livestock, where will you get it? Because now you're throwing plastic in the wilderness. So we are self-terminating ourselves. So we need to be divine, live through the principles of Ma'at. Ashe 9 ether beings, let's be divine, let's practice the divine oneness. Let's return to who we are. Ashe Mshato Bakhalaga, Mushat.
Oh yeah. Well, as we all have had with you, our viewers at home, I hope and I know that your third eye and ear were open, wide open. We have heard from the true leader, the true African leader with us today here. He told us what we need to hear, what we were destined to hear today. And for me, it's an honor to be with you, say. It is an honor. And even with the production, it's a big thing. Now, I wanted to tell the viewers at home to be aware of everything that is happening around us.
Yes.
To be aware of the nature and to go rectify their mistakes that they have done to the nature. For now, I would like to wrap the whole show with you, and as you know, you were with me, the one and only Black Rose in the Garden, and with also our African leader. Now, I want you to go and please you to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Wiser TV. And from that, I leave you with a message that says we rise by lifting each other. Now, let us all take care of each other. I thank you.
Sure.